What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we're back with another Curse Gear video, this time focusing on a gear. In both the original closed community and now the public space, the Manipulator class is easily the most misunderstood gear in the entire game. New players think it's busted because of the insane damage, while testers call it mid since it's so punishable. There's a lot of ways to play Manipulator, but it's not that simple. So if you're new and trying to learn the game, Manipulator is probably one of the riskiest classes to start with, but still, it's worth trying out. Back in the testing days, and even now, I've been loyal to the Manipulator class, playing it since day one. So with all the experience I've had fighting as and against it, let me show you what you need to know. Hopefully you learned something new about the class, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did. Without further ado, let's get into it. Manipulator is a complex gear with a simple moveset. The abilities aren't hard to input or understand, but your timing decides the fight. Many new players are drawn to Manipulator for its big moves, range, and huge damage, but it's very dangerous to play if you don't know what you're doing. Starting with the moveset, you need to abuse everything here since no part of the kit is useless. Curse Sense is easily one of the strongest combat tools in the game, and you should be using it as much as possible. Being able to see players through walls and targeting them directly is insanely valuable in fights. When sneaking players, you can hit them with almost anything for free as soon as you spot them and start the fight with an advantage. Smaller things like smoke, dust, trees, rocks, or giant particle effects might hide players normally, but not if you have Curse Sense. A lot of players panic when they can't see you, and we should be punishing that. At any level of combat, having more information about the fight always makes you play better. Next up, pairing with Curse Sense, we have Energy Blast. This move is elite for the Manipulator kit and can be used in many ways. You can catch people mid-attack and snipe them with a blast, and the best part is that you have a lot of options. If you black flash your Energy Blast at mid-range, you can close the gap and start a combo right after. Sometimes that single black flash lets you chain into other moves or full-on confirms. On the other hand, you can just punish them and do nothing else and let enemies come to you. It's a very safe confirm off almost any stun, and when in doubt, always use this instead of riskier moves to deal reliable damage. Landing a guaranteed Energy Blast is always better than gambling for something bigger, so I wouldn't spam this randomly. Use it to punish mistakes or poke from range. Next, we have Telekinesis, another great catching tool. Black flashing Telly can set up almost anything into a true confirm, which makes it extremely valuable but also very punishable. Veteran players almost never get hit by a raw Telekinesis, so you kinda have to be creative about it. If your Telly gets parried, you're cooked, and that's a full punish. The stun is powerful, but you can't spam it safely like Energy Blast. The best way to land this move is by catching people mid-attack or using it from a safer distance. During combos, you can also cancel Telly instantly to mix players up and force them to block. Telekinesis is a core part of the Manipulator kit, but if you throw it out carelessly, you will get punished. Moving on to Energy Burst, one of the most misunderstood abilities in the game. Charging Burst increases its radius, stamina pressure, and overall output, letting it deal huge damage if you hold on to it. You can even explode players through walls while staying safe, so if you see them, you might as well use it. Many players I see release Burst instantly or hold it after a Telekinesis combo for a mix-up, and that often works, but Burst is very ping dependent. If you're lagging, enemies can react to this move even off a black flash. So the combo does work, but I personally avoid using Burst inside of combos because it is extremely punishable if parried. You can also running attack into Burst into Telekinesis if your ping is low, otherwise it isn't true and you'll get parried instantly. Most of the time, me personally, I prefer holding Burst to pressure on blocks or poke from range instead of comboing into it. Just remember, above about 90 ping, Burst combos are not going to be reliable. Finishing up the moveset, we have Axiom alongside Levitation. One of the first rules of combat in Curse Gear is simple: do not jump whatsoever. Jumping is going to get you air countered and comboed, but Manipulator breaks that rule if we play carefully. By double jumping and casting Axiom, you can instantly guard break enemies, however, you're also vulnerable to being guard broken yourself on a parry. Axiom can be air countered, dodged, or parried, so it isn't unpunishable. Because of that, I only use it when it's going to hit or be safe. Off a Black Flash Telekinesis or a Black Flash M1 in the air, Axiom becomes a safe confirm with massive range and massive damage. Outside of those situations, it's much harder to use. I noticed that new players throw this move out constantly because they get greedy, but as a Manipulator, you cannot greed for damage. Axiom is the best confirmable move in the kit off a stun and can even set up burst most combos, but mastering the timing is essential if you want to play well. Another piece that many manipulators overlook, and I used to as well, is using M1s and other weapons. A lot of players on this gear think that throwing hands is useless because the damage is low and manipulator doubles skill stamina cost when using a sword, but it's still pretty good. Despite the downsides, that doesn't mean physical attacks are worthless. Years ago, I mostly ran away and sniped players with abilities and it worked, but it wasn't the most optimal way to play the class. Even though your attacks deal very little damage, they're extremely important for resource management and overall pressure. For example, after an energy blast punish, following up with my M1s might not deal much damage, but it gives me several benefits. My Kamo clan lets me heal with M1s, I regenerate cursed energy on hit, I'm stalling for cooldowns, I set up extra damage with my curse technique summons, and I can also force mix-ups into telekinesis. None of that would have happened if you only relied on your skills. Critical attacks are also great combo finishers that you should be abusing. Your fist criticals are faster than burst and much less punishable. Knocking enemies away forces mistakes, and the damage isn't too bad if you're using cybernetics like pulse gauntlets, like the damage is good. M2 attacks are also fairly safe for finishing combos or breaking blocks. For weapons, I run a hybrid playstyle using a spear. It lets me confirm telekinesis combos off a critical hit or follow up with energy blast after a running attack. Other than that, I think the other weapons aren't as consistent in my experience, so I don't even use them. Even though Manipulator's physical damage is very low, ignoring your weapon entirely is just a mistake. Moving on, in PvE, there's no debate, Manipulator absolutely dominates. You can shred groups of enemies with ease, but in PvP, you really have to lock in to deal consistent damage, and our stats can help us. Let's talk about stats and possible builds. The most common manipulator build that I see is full durability for HP, full output for skill damage, and maybe a small investment into another stat. This is actually one of the biggest mistakes players can make when learning manipulator and the game itself. Basically, the only thing this build does well is skill damage and nothing else. So if you're not pacing your moves properly, you'll run out of stamina and be stuck doing nothing, and that's really bad. That's especially dangerous for new players to the game who don't fully understand Curse Gear's combat, so I wouldn't recommend this build at all if you're just starting out. I've been making manipulator builds for years, and honestly, output is a trap for this class, so it's too expensive for what it gives and usually isn't worth the investment. On the other hand, you can run a build like this instead. By pumping durability for HP, efficiency instead of output, and awareness for block pressure and stamina safety, the class feels much better overall. What the game doesn't really tell you about efficiency is that while it gives slightly less skill damage than output, it reduces skill cost and makes using energy basically free. At high efficiency, flaring your energy by pressing E costs nothing, and it feels amazing to play. Even though your moves deal a little bit less damage, you can use energy more often, throw out abilities more frequently, combo with your M1s without getting winded, and actually block more attacks. This is the build that I run because I'd rather play the class more freely than just hit harder, if that makes any sense. Being able to act without constantly worrying about stamina is way more valuable to me. That being said, let's finish up our discussion with some bread and butter combos that work alongside some curse technique usage. There's a few different combos that I find myself doing a lot of the time. If you land a Black Flash telekinesis, you can Axiom and do anything else right after. As a finisher, M1s are decent for resource recovery, Burst is the best for damage but parryable in lag, and M2s are safe to use and send people flying. In low ping, you can set this up with a running attack into Burst into telekinesis, or even a spear critical into tele itself. Most of the manipulator combos you'll be dealing with work with Black Flash telekinesis or Burst into telekinesis, and you can freestyle according to your gameplay. Finally, with a curse technique, you can really run whatever you want, but I usually prefer utility over raw damage. Being able to stun players and set up full Axiom combos is way more valuable to me than just adding on more damage. There isn't a CT that's outright broken with Manipulator, but if you like a more active playstyle always doing something, Grief Wardens might be for you. Having 3 different summons that each bring damage, healing, and defense helps a lot with Manipulator's kit. When you're playing at full capacity like that, players make way more mistakes, and it's honestly really fun to use. There's also a lot of curse technique tech I didn't cover, but I think it's time for you guys to explore that yourselves and tell me what you find down below. Anyway, that's Manipulator debunked as a day 1 manip sweat, and hopefully you learned something new. I know players get confused about some of these gears, so let's spread the word and help them out. I'm probably not the absolute best manipulator out there, but I have been playing it for years in testing, and I'm one of the original players of the gear, so I've got a good idea about what I'm talking about. Anyway, Anyway, thanks for watching once again. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out the channel because it means a lot. If you want to join as a member for my channel, go down below, but besides that, my personal Discord and my UGC group are linked down below, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punchin' time.